So you have this on Google Earth and you could see the giant seahorse. And you might be wondering, asking, why is there a giant seahorse that looks like South America? If you were to go under Wikipedia and type in the word hippocampus mythology, yes, hippocampus is a part of the brain, but before we used the word for a part of the brain, it was used as a name for a seahorse, a giant seahorse, because hippo meaning horse and campus meaning sea monster. It was a giant seahorse monster in mythology. But obviously, we all learn from medical medium Anthony Williams, mythology is not so mythical anymore. And you could go down and scroll and read up about the seahorse. Supposedly, it was the steed of somebody named Poseidon, the horse of Poseidon. And there's a lot you can read up about it. There's artwork from all different cultures around the world. And here I made a funny looking image where I put what I would think would be Poseidon riding the seahorse, stabbing the snake head. I'm sure that you've all been taught that something like South America, the land masses, were made through geological processes. On the area between Papua New Guinea and the islands of Solomon, Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga. There is a serpent-looking creature laying underneath the ocean, and I'm outlining it for you so you could see it more clearly. This is Papua New Guinea would be where the head is, and Fiji would be where the tail is. And now I'm going to rotate it on a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to outline it one more time so you can see it clearly. And now I colored it in to make it look like a rainbow serpent. If you go to Wikipedia and type in the rainbow serpent, it will say that the rainbow serpent is a common deity, or it is a common motif in the art and religion of many of the Aboriginal Australian peoples. Much like the archetypal mother goddess, the rainbow serpent creates land and diversity for the Aboriginal people. This serpent looks like it has a fat belly, or a full belly, or a pregnant belly. And it looks like Fiji would be the pooper. And it is right next to Australia. Here you could see ancient rock artwork of the Australian rainbow serpent. And it looks a lot like the thing that we see on Google Earth. Here is another rock artwork of the rainbow serpent. And it looks just like what we're looking at. I asked ChatGPT, and this is the answer it gave me. The pregnant rainbow serpent, the creation mother. In the beginning, the timeless age before the world became as it is. The land was flat, dark, and silent. Beneath the surface of the earth, the pregnant rainbow serpent slept, coiled in darkness. Inside her great belly, she carried all forms of life, animals, people, plants, and spirits, unborn and waiting. When the time for creation came, she began to stir and stretch, her movements shaping the world above. Her rising and writhing body carved out mountains, rivers, and valleys. Her tail gouged deep channels that became riverbeds. Her scales scattered and glittering stones and water holes. Her breath brought forth wind and rain. Then, as she moved across the new land, the beings within her belly grew restless. They wanted to be free and see the light of day. In one version, she opened her mouth and breathed out the first animals. I'm going to be working below Japan. I'm going to show you in the area of the Philippine Sea is where we're going to be focusing on this video. The Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, Palau. I believe that I am looking at two different shapes that are lying beneath the ocean. The shape to the right kind of looks like a hook, and the shape to the left looks like the head of a snake. I believe we could even see the tongue coming out of the snake's mouth. And then I went searching the ancient text to see if I could match up a story with what we're looking at. In the Bible, Job 41:2, it states, "Canst thou put a hook into the nose of the Leviathan, or bore his jaw through with a thorn?" So now I'm going to ask you, what is a Leviathan? Besides the Bible, I also found in Greek mythology, it says, yes, Perseus used a curved sword known as a harpy to kill the Medusa and the Gorgons. The harpy is often described as a curved sword with a sharp edge resembling a sickle or a scythe. And Medusa is something with the head of a snake, and it had sisters who were also snake heads. I advise you to remember this. Anthony Williams taught us mythology is not so mythical anymore. This serpent head, which is Indonesia, and you can see how it curls back up into Singapore, right up into Myanmar. It's not as clear as the other two, so I'm gonna do my best to try and outline it and show it to you. Instead of outlining it, I came up with a better way. I drew it in, and then I erased it so you could see the whole thing. As far as I could tell, that's the whole thing. I went to Wikipedia and I typed in rainbow serpent, and they give us this image, the Australian Aboriginal rock painting of the rainbow serpent. I want to click on it, see what they give us. So that kind of looks like what I drew. Not exactly, but this is the closest that I could find. A serpent deity in Southeast Asia is called a Naga, and it is the most prominent serpent being in their Asian mythology. And then zoom in to the west coast of Africa. I'm going to zoom out and then zoom in one more time so you see exactly where we are in this video. What is the optic nerve. It is a nerve that runs to your eyeball. And from this view on Google Earth, we could see the optic nerve coming in and circling to the right, coming in and circling to the left. And as we zoom in, you could see all the little nerve endings. I am not revealing some big secret to you because this eye is pretty famous. It's called the Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Richat structure. It is a prominent geological formation, so-called geological formation, in the Mariana, characterized by its circular shape and concentric rings, making it visible from space, especially Google Earth, which we are using. The sad part is that they are not telling you what it is an eyeball to. And as we zoom out, you will see the head of whatever creature that is. And it looks like it came out of the ocean, washed up on the land there, and that's where its life ended. Now, yes, it is a giant fish in the desert. Does it just resemble a fish, or do we have some more evidence that this actually was a living fish? Yeah, we could see the eye and the pupil of the fish. We could see the fish's mouth. We could see the fish's fin. And we could see all the fish scales circling around the fish. We could even see the back of his fishtail. But it gets even more interesting than that. I want all of us to zoom in right below the fish fin, where you see it start to transition from a pink to a darker color. And the more you zoom into it, the wilder it starts to look. Well, just like us, fishes have an arterial system, which consists of arteries and veins and blood vessels and capillaries. Well, I'm going to zoom into right under the fish's fin where we could actually see the arterial system very clear. You could see the big one coming down as an artery. And as we zoom into the artery, you could see the blood vessels coming off of the artery. And as we move into the blood vessels, you could see the capillaries coming off of the blood vessels. And they dump into the black lines that are running the opposite direction, which would be the veins. And they're everywhere, and you could see them all over the fish's body. Because the upper layer, the outer layer, the fish's scales have been eaten away. So we could see the underling of the fish's body, the blood system. That's pretty cool. Now, besides the blood system to the fish, we could also see right here, these black areas, the fish's lymph nodes. And you could see the lymph system pouring into the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are black right now because the fish is trying to fight off being poisoned by an attack. The fish is under attack right now So this is hard for me to even explain. But the lymph nodes are doing what they're supposed to do, which is trying to filter out all the poison that the fish is under attack by. Storeworm. Wikipedia gives us multiple variations of the mythology. I scrolled down until I found the folk beliefs. The description and attributes say that the storeworm was a mythical serpent-like creature, a gigantic beast with a ferocious appetite, and was able to demolish ships, houses, and drag entire hillsides and villages into the sea. I scrolled down a little bit more, and one of the folklores say that the head of the worm was like a great mountain. Its breath was putrid, contaminating plants and destroying any humans or animals with its blast. And that the serpent's length was beyond telling and reached thousands and thousands of miles in the sea. I kept scrolling down until I found the slaying of the worm. And it says, the smoke clouds that were expelled from its mouth and nostrils turned the skies black. And there were islanders, and they were believing that the world was about to end, so they clambered up the hillside to watch the final death. As the creature died, it caused tidal waves and earthquakes. And then when it did die, the creature's teeth fell out of its mouth, and the teeth became the islands of Orkney, the Shetland, and the Faroes. The Baltic Sea was created where its tongue fell out. And when the creature finally died, its body became the country of Iceland. So they're telling you where Iceland comes from, and it's not a geological process. So let's go to Iceland and let's look for a giant worm that is thousands and thousands of miles long. Everyone, pull out your Google Earth and find Iceland. And then you're going to see a line coming down out of Iceland. It's not a straight line, but nonetheless, it's a line, and you can follow it going down, all the way down, until you get to the end of the line. And what you see is a head of a worm. I outlined the head so you could see it more clearly. Now I'm just going to basically outline the whole thing for you. There you go. So we found the mythological storeworm, and we colored him in, and he's thousands of miles in the sea, and he's not so mythological. We're going to start with Florida and go up to basically New York. And as I zoom in, you will see what looks to be the head of a serpent. He curls back to the right, curls back to the left, and then you will see all the feathers winding up by Long Island over here. All these feathers. So let's go back to his head. His snout is facing like Louisiana. You can see all these ripples down into the Gulf of America that basically come out of his mouth. He has feathers on his head. 1, 2, 3 feathers up on top of his head. And this is a very famous serpent. And he goes by the name of the feathered serpent, which is why he has the feathers on his head and he has the feathers on his tail. I am no artist, but I could do my best to draw an outline around the serpent for those who are having trouble seeing and identifying what I'm trying to show you. Right now, those are the feathers on top of his head. Then we're going to go around his face and the snout. And then we're going to draw his eyeball in. Okay, I'll color it in for you. Make it very bright and colorful. If you guys go to Wikipedia and type in feathered serpent, it will say that the feathered serpent is a prominent supernatural entity found in many of the Mesoamerican religions, such as the Aztecs and the Yucatec Maya. If you do a Google search for images of the feathered serpent, you will find many, many images. This is from the Codex Borbonicus, and you can see the feathered serpent right there with an Indian-looking guy in his mouth. Here's another very old piece of artwork, and this is the exact position that he is in on Google Earth, except here his mouth is open and there's an Indian going down his mouth. But that is him. You see the feathers on his head and the feathers on his tail. He is laying across the east coast of the United States of America. This is a pyramid called the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent. And during both equinoxes, the shadow comes in, and I circled around it. You can see how they designed the pyramid so to look as if the feathered serpent was descending down into our world. Before I point out the gigantic creature laying across the middle of our screen right now, can you see it for yourself? AW talked about an alien monster with a scorpion tail. I don't know if he was talking about this or if he was talking about something completely different. But this monster laying across the West Coast has a scorpion tail. I am outlining the scorpion monster for you. The man who discovered this named it Scorpzilla, referencing Godzilla but with a scorpion tail. Now I colored it in and gave it some armor-looking scorpion features. Now we are going to zoom into the biology of the scorpion monster, different features that we could see. We'll start with his head. He has like the head and the neck of a lizard monitor or something to that effect. And right here, I'm going to zoom into his eyeball. That is his eye looking at you. I will zoom out. And you see where the green starts. That's like his snout. And then the snout leads up to his eye. The eye leads into his neck, into his shoulder blade. Below the shoulder blade would be his front arm coming this way. Very hard to see the hand with these claws right here. But you can see his back arching. Then we could see his back leg bent right here. And above his back leg, you can see the beginning of his scorpion tail starting to go upward. And you follow the scorpion tail all the way until you get to the scorpion pincher. And at the end of the pincher, you see that something came out of the pincher and dribbled into what would be like a little island or something to that effect underneath the water. So before that dribbled out, it would have been a part of the tail, like a little bubble in the tail full of poison to strike whatever it was trying to catch. But when it died, it all leaked out and landed right here. And this would be the end of the scorpion tail. Right here is a pointy looking, dangerous, deadly scorpion tail from this scorpion monster that goes from California up to Alaska. These are Alaskan mountain volcanoes. So he's approximately 3,000 miles long. Now, do we have any written history regarding a 3,000-mile scorpion monster? We might. I searched Wikipedia for the Scorpion Man. I advise you guys to go on to Wikipedia and search this for yourself. So the information they give us, the myths, are from Akkadian and Babylonian history. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the people worshipped the sun, and they called the sun god Shamash. The Scorpion Man stands guard outside the gates of the sun god Shamash, and they give entrance to Kanugi. Kanugi is the land of darkness. So the Scorpion Men open the doors for the sun god as he travels out each day, and then they close the doors after him while he returns through the netherworld at night. And the Scorpion Men guard the gate. So let's think about what they're actually saying. Is it possible that they're saying that the sun rises on the east and sets in the west? And when it sets in the west, it goes into the land of darkness, which there is nothing there west of the scorpion monster. Zoom in until you find Morocco. I have Morocco right in the middle of my screen. Now I'm going to clear it. Remember when I told you that this fish was being attacked by something? Well, the dragon is attacking the fish. And let me zoom in a little bit. You see the black where the fish's fin is. Well, the dragon is spitting out the black. Whether it's a toxin or a poison or a venom, it's coming out of his mouth and onto the fish. Before I go any further with the dragon, I want to make sure that the credit to this discovery goes to Dragon Master Spur. He is in his 70s, and I would very much like for him to get the credit that he deserves while he's still with us. I will be zooming in and out to help you see the anatomy more clearly. Right now, the head of the dragon, along with a piece of its neck, is in the center of the screen. I'm going to zoom into his head a little bit more. All right? Right in the middle, you can see a little red dot. That little red dot right here is the dragon's eye. The dragon's mouth is here. All the black is coming out of his mouth. All of these little things. The black strip right here, that's part of his throat running down his neck. All this fluffy stuff is the top of his head and the top of his neck running down. These are the beards coming off of him. These strange looking things are like beards coming off the dragon. I'm sure we've all heard of dragon scales, but now I'm going to show you what they actually look like as we zoom into the dragon's throat. You could see the dragon scale, one after another, a continuous pattern of dragon scales all across Morocco. And you can zoom in and you can see them better. Layers of dragon scale on top of dragon scale on top of dragon scale. And they go all the way across the dragon's throat. They are pointy. They kind of look like mountains. Eventually, you get to this spot right here. And you say, what is this? And this would be where the dragon's throat was cut. And you could follow it, right? From here, you see the cut, the zig, the zag, the zig, and at the bottom, all the blood would have leaked out and it turned black. When we first discovered this, it was not black. That blood area was green. It was a fertile area, lots of growth there. I believe they built the dam, and now the blood has turned black. And the dragon scales continue on for much longer after that area. I zoomed out to show you the rest of the dragon's anatomy. And right now I want to zoom into the dragon's legs. You could see these two thighs coming down. You cannot see the dragon's feet, but these are the two legs. And as you go backwards, you can see the dragon's tail, the dark area that comes off the dragon's body. And you can zoom into the dragon tail, and what you will see are more dragon scales. They kind of look like pyramid-shaped structures. And each one of these pyramids is 1.5 miles in distance. And they are one on top of another, on top of another. Very possible that the pyramids were never built, but were dragon scales. And here is your dragon from all of your mythologies. I gave it an outline just to help you see it. Went over his back, down its tail. I gave him the two legs. This is just a quick outline. His underbelly, his neck, finish off with the head. And now I colored it in so you could see it. I believe it would have been a red dragon. Outlining it one more time, a little bit darker, so you could see the head better. I gave it the beards, the throat, the flaming eye. I'll even do it one more time for you. This way you can really see it. Now I gave you the whole dragon. The feature has been said to resemble a human head wearing a full indigenous type of headdress. Let's check out this Badlands Guardian. Here are the Google Earth coordinates to find the Badlands Guardian. Latitude and longitude. You may not be able to see me doing this, but I am going to type in Badlands Guardian in Alberta, Canada in the search engine. And it brings us right to the Badlands Guardian. Do you see the giant head with the Indian headdress. The red dot is where his ear is. They dug an oil well where his ear once was. Here is his nose. Here is his mouth. Here is his chin. Here is his eye and his eyebrow. And here is his headdress with the feathers.